On August of 1883, the world as we knew it ended. In just a few short minutes, Krakatoa would change history forever. As the largest volcanic eruption in recorded human history, the explosion was so big that it literally killed people with sound. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to my channel. Now let's travel back in time to 1883. 4 months prior to August, people had been feeling earthquakes and hearing strange noises coming from the Indonesian island of Krakatoa. Little did they know, but this string of events would soon turn into one of the deadliest natural disasters in history. And when it happened, the whole world felt it. For those who don't know, Krakatoa is an Indonesian volcano located between the islands of Java and Sumatra. The volcano actually consists of 3 separate volcanic summits: Perbuatan, Danan, and Krakatoa. For hundreds of years, these volcanoes have been quite dormant, but starting in May of 1883, things began to change. Earthquakes shook the surrounding islands, and people started to evacuate as they felt something wasn't right. It was soon discovered that all of the seismic activity was coming from the smallest of the 3 summits. Perbuatan scientists observed that the sea level around the island had dropped by several feet, so the only conclusion they could come to was that a massive magma chamber had been sucked up from below the ocean floor and was now creating a massive bulge in the water above it. They also noticed steam rising from the depths of the sea, which only added to the mystery. As the month of June rolled around, the frequency of earthquakes increased and people were forced to flee the area. By July, the bulge of water had grown to be over 300 feet above sea level, and it was clear that something was about to happen, but no one really knew what. Finally, on August, the world got its answer. At 10 o'clock in the morning, a massive explosion rocked the island. People who were miles away reported feeling the ground shake beneath their feet as if an earthquake had occurred. Ash began to fall from the sky, and people ran for cover. What they didn't know was that there was more to come. As the morning wore on, 2 more explosions occurred. The second blast was even more powerful than the first, throwing ash 20 kilometers into the air. The third and final explosion occurred at 10:06 a.m. It was heard 2,000 kilometers away. All of the surrounding villages were completely destroyed. Over 36,000 people lost their lives. The explosions generated tsunamis that traveled across the Indian Ocean. Some reports say that the waves reached as high as 98 feet, which is absolutely insane. Coastal cities as far away as India and Africa were completely obliterated. The total death toll is unknown, but some historians say that it could have reached as many as 48,000 people. The strangest part of the eruption, however, was the fact that the noise from the explosions killed people. That's right. Sound was so loud that it literally shattered people's skulls. The blasts were so powerful that they created a shockwave that roared around the world 3 times. This caused the eardrums of people who were miles away to explode. If you've ever been near a sonic jet, then you know that the sound can be deafening. Well, imagine being outside with the jet flying directly over your head. That's kind of how people described the sound of Krakatoa's eruption. Even though it was nowhere near them, the sound was so loud that it was impossible to hear anything else. Those who survived the initial blasts often found that their ears were ringing for days afterwards. Many people became temporarily or even permanently deaf from the noise. To put into perspective just how loud the explosion was, if you stood next to it, it would have been around 180 decibels. To put that into perspective, if you were next to a jet engine, it would be around 150. A chainsaw is around 110. A motorcycle is around 90. A lawnmower is around 70. Normal conversation is around 60. Anything above 70 is considered painful to the human ear. So yeah, the eruption was pretty loud. But moving on, in the aftermath of the disaster, scientists realized that the island itself was now gone. The 3 previous summits had collapsed in on themselves and formed a massive crater. It was the largest in the world. The area had become a lake. Crater Lake is now one of Indonesia's most popular tourist destinations. People travel from all around the world to see it. And in 1927, a railway line was constructed specifically to bring tourists to the site. Now, the reason why I made this video is because Krakatoa 1883 is one of the most interesting historical events to me. I honestly don't think that people give it enough credit. It literally changed the world. The dust from the eruption remained in the atmosphere for years, causing sunsets to look red and even leading to global climate change. But somehow the event has been largely forgotten about. I mean, I bet you've heard of the Hindenburg disaster, but have you ever heard of Krakatoa? Most people haven't. The reason for this is that when the disaster struck, the rest of the world had bigger things to worry about. In 1883, the French were busy fighting the Chinese in Vietnam. The British were busy taking over Burma. America was busy killing Native Americans and sending them to reservations. Basically, the world was a dark place. There was war and genocide everywhere. So when news of Krakatoa finally reached the rest of the world, most people just didn't care. But what if Krakatoa had happened during a time where people weren't as distracted? What if the eruption had occurred today? When Krakatoa erupted, the death toll reached as high as 48,000 people. If the eruption had occurred today, it's safe to say that the death toll would have been much higher. The main reason why is because of the increased population. Back in 1883, the population of the Earth was around 1.6 billion people. Today, it's over 7 billion. Also, many of the coastal cities that were hit by the tsunami back in 1883 are now major metropolitan areas. Jakarta, for example, was home to around 200,000 people back in 1883. Today, it's home to over 10 million people. If a similar eruption were to occur today, many major cities would be wiped off the face of the planet. Millions upon millions of people would die. The damage to property would be immeasurable. We literally wouldn't be able to recover from such a disaster. I mean, think about Hurricane Katrina. When New Orleans was hit by the storm back in 2005, 1,800 people lost their lives. Around 80% of the city was completely destroyed. The federal government had to step in and help rebuild everything. It was one of the worst disasters in American history, yet the damage only amounted to around $125 billion. Krakatoa 1883 was thousands of times worse than Hurricane Katrina. It leveled entire countries and sent shockwaves that were felt across the entire globe. So yeah, not exactly a fun topic to think about, but it just goes to show that humanity truly is living on borrowed time. It's only a matter of time until something catastrophic happens. Hopefully it won't be too bad. But if it is, hopefully we're able to work together and recover. Because let's face it, we're never going to be prepared for something like Krakatoa. You can plan and prepare all you want, but something like that is simply beyond our control. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's been a while since I uploaded, but trust me, the videos that I have planned for the rest of this year are by far some of the best stuff I've ever produced. If you're already subscribed, then thank you. If not, then please subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.